Hey everybody, thank you for joining us. We're about to check out this screening of Stream, but before we do, we got a Q&A with Marcus Slabine, a New England native who is a producer, but also you play a ton of other hats in many other projects. So Marcus, one of the things that we need to just get out of the way, there was a big announcement recently. Who is the main guy, well, not the main guy, who is the big name that's in this film that just got announced recently?
It is the one and only Tim Curry.
Yes. Why did you guys keep that under wraps? Like, what was the thought process around that, and what was it like announcing that to everybody?
Well, so, I mean, we got Tim Curry at the last, for a special scene that I can't really talk about, but, I mean, it was one of those things where we wanted to have one giant surprise, and also in that surprise was also the other name that was in that scene. And that got somewhat announced and leaked, so we're like, okay, well, we only have one name left, that's Tim Curry, and we have to hold on to that for a while, and then we were trying to hold on to that till after the screening, and then it got, literally, there was a midnight screening, and it was everywhere. People posted it, they leaked it, even though it said no spoilers, and nobody could keep their mouth shut about Tim. Because, I mean, look, it's Tim fucking Curry, like, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so you hold many hats in this industry right now. You're a co-producer of this film. What inspired you to become, a filmmaker working in this genre?
I mean, so growing up, I was always into films. I always loved like making movies, and I originally wanted to be an actor, but then I realized I couldn't really act. So I was smart enough to know I shouldn't do that. And then basically, I saw the Evil Dead series backwards. I was one of the 6 people that saw Army of Darkness in the theaters, and I fell in love with like everything about Army of Darkness, and I found out about Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, and I became literally obsessed to the point where my mother thought I was a serial killer. And because I'm a little bit older, everybody, so I would print out pictures of like all the gore and post it all over my walls, so my mother would just see dismembered body parts and not really know it was Evil Dead, so it was always fun. But I always wanted to create, and horror was a genre that I just like fell in love with. It was like one of those genres that like, I don't want to call it the underdog genre, but it's a genre where there's a built-in fan base, but it's also like a family. And people, I've never seen like the community, even with this film itself. Like we have, film just came out, and even before, people have come up to us with cosplays, they've created their own characters and all that, and that's such a beautiful thing, and I don't find that with a lot of other genres. This chair's almost about to fall over, but it's cool. And I've always been a horror fan. There's something about watching horror films that just really speaks to like the soul. It's weird to say, but it's like a stress reliever. In the darkest days of my life, I've turned to horror. So I can't think of any other genre I would ever want to be in.
And this film seems like it's like a love letter to horror fans. I mean, I'm just looking at the poster. We have Jeffrey Combs, David Howard Thornton, Dee Wallace, Daniel Harris, Tony Todd, Terry Kaiser, Bill Moseley. It's all the genre greats, right?
Yeah.
So with all those big names, I'm sure you must have a few good stories to tell us about some behind the scenes stuff with some of those guys. Could you share a couple of stories maybe?
Oh, sure. Okay, let me think of some good ones. Okay, so, Felissa Rose is also in it. And anyone that knows Felissa Rose is slightly a drinker, as am I. And she showed up one night. We were doing one of the big giant kill sequences, and everyone was exhausted. We were doing 16-hour days, and we were just tired. It was a Thursday, and Felissa Rose texts me, and she's like, "Marcus, I'm coming in. Get ready for some drinking." And I'm like, all right, Felissa, fuck it, let's do it. So I go around to everyone, and everyone's like, "No, I'm good. We're not drinking tonight. No, we're done. We're done." And I'm like, wait, Felissa thinks we're all gonna go drinking. Like, okay. So she shows up, she's got a bottle of Tito's, I have a bottle of Jack, and because everyone else decided to go to bed, I stayed up till 6 in the morning, 6 hours, drinking an entire bottle of Jack, and she drank an entire bottle of Tito's while we sat at the pool, which you'll see the pool scene in this movie, and you'll know that there's a lot of awesome stuff there, so it was really cool when you're drunk and trying to not fall into the pool. It was just like one of those experiences where I like got up and like Michael, the director, woke up and he just goes, he's like, "All right, Marcus, we gotta build the set today." I went, "Fuck you, I'm going to bed." And I slammed into the bed. I mean, we had great times with everybody. Jeffrey Combs was just cool as hell to be on set with. I was wearing a Reanimator shirt, and he randomly just comes up to me and just like grabs my shirt and I had a button-up shirt and he just rips it open, and which I was like, oh geez, rip Jeffrey Combs. Okay. And he goes, someone knows how to dress in style. And I was like, you're damn right. And he goes, gee, I don't see any money from this. And it was, he was super cool. Tony's always the best. We actually went ghost hunting with Daniel Harris. Because we stayed at, the hotel that we were at was the Gettysburg Hotel. It was at the Eisenhower. This place is literally a mile from the battlefield. So we would drive down to go to like McDonald's or anywhere, and you drive where thousands of people had died and killed. And this place was haunted as fuck. So we would go with actually Craig Lloydrin, who's one of the producers, and Danielle, and he had all the ghost hunting stuff. And we went ghost hunting through the place, and it was crazy. There was some shit though.
You got some activity?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We found like there was a bat that was on a Bible in a random room that was abandoned that was just frozen. The entire house, like everywhere else in this hotel, you walk in the hall, you're sweating. You walk in this room, freezing. I don't know why. AC was broken. We didn't really ask too many questions, so
Ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts or somebody.
So now, independent horror has come a long way. Have you ever imagined seeing this on the big screen, or even seeing yourself on the big screen behind us right now? And you're also in the film. Shout out to Showcase Cinemas for making this happen. Can you just tell us the whole process behind that? Like, how did you guys get this into the films? Into the big theaters?
So we have to give a huge shout out to Terrifier. I mean, Terrifier, in all honesty, was the little indie film that could. This was a film that was shot for $250,000 off of an Indiegogo movie. This is an Indiegogo movie as well. But Terrifier was the film that the first one came out was not theatrical. It went straight to Netflix. It got a little bit of a fan base, and then Terrifier 2 came out, and it was only supposed to be in theaters for one night. And then the pre-sales were so good, it got expanded for the weekend. And then it opened up, and it went for the week, and they didn't want it to stay in the theaters because they were worried about Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills, one of the two. And it held its own against Halloween Kills and kept doing better and better and made $15 million. And because of that, it's opened the doors to so many of these, theaters and companies being like, hey, okay, we should take a chance on an indie film. We didn't do the distribution route. We went straight to the source, and this is it's unprecedented, So when we shot this, the dream is always theater. You always want it in the theater. You always want to be, this is the place you should be watching your movies. But a film like Stream, we were when it got theatrical, and this has got a wide theatrical. This is an independent film, Indiegogo movie that we shot during COVID, 2021. We were I quarantined with these people for 6 weeks where we couldn't even leave. It was a crazy experience. And to see it on the big screen, to see it at AMC's, to see it at showcases, to see it, tomorrow night I'm going to be in my hometown theater, the theater I told you earlier, I was fired from. For seeing Swim Fan. Yeah, so that was a bad choice, but whatever. But it blows my mind because this is a pure independent film. There's no company that's backing this. There's no studio. There's nothing, and it's a grassroots film, and we're going the grassroots way. But people have been really loving it, and it's always, to me, independent cinema is always where has the most creativity comes from. You have so many amazing films that come out of independent cinema, and it's the time when I think most filmmakers are able to actually create what they want without the influences of studios saying you can't have this, you can't do this, you can't kill this character, oh no, you can't be this gory. They told Damien he couldn't do half the shit that he did, and that's literally what sold Terrifier 2, was somebody getting so nauseous and sick from probably the bedroom scene, I'm going to assume, and throwing up, and that launched the film. And Terrifier 3 is going to be even grosser, so there you go.
Way worse.
So speaking of Terrifier, actually one of the things that strikes me about this film is obviously we got the giant cast, but also some of the big names aren't just actors, like Damien doing special effects. That's a big deal. Like everybody's excited about that. But also you got Paul Wesley composing the score, and he also did the Terrifier score. So like, what does that add to this film? What was it like working with them and having them be a part of this project?
So Damien Leone, not only, okay, so first of all, Damien Leone is an absolute brilliant mastermind of horror. Like this guy, I've become very close with him because of this movie. And him and I bonded over Jaws, literally. You know, before we met, I worked on Terrifier 2, but it was so hectic I didn't really get to meet him. And Michael, the writer-director of this, and that whole team was like, you gotta meet Damien, you guys are gonna love each other, you guys just gotta talk. Finally sat down, we finally got to talking, and we just talked horror for hours. This guy knows everything about horror. Like, he is so on the pulse with that. But he's also, like, watching him work with special effects, it's incredible. It is. I can't even explain how cool it is to be able to watch him and Phil Falcone, like, really sit down and kind of, like, build these things out of nothing. You know, you're going to see the gore effects in this for an independent film are insane. You know, and watching them work and watching them on set, I mean, you're going to see videos with all of us. Like, we just all had a blast. It was like hanging out with your best friends, making a movie, stuck in a haunted hotel, you know? Paul, I personally have not met Paul yet. Every time I was supposed to meet him, we've all been at different spots. But what he does in this is really great. There's a few tracks in this that really just like are amazing. People have been wanting the soundtrack for this, but I think Paul Wesley, I think he's incredible at what he does.
Will you guys release that, you think, at some point, a soundtrack?
We're hoping. I mean, listen, we have a hot sauce out there right now, which, you know,
and
so.
a coffee, I think, right?
We have a coffee for stream, the hot sauce, which is from Freak Show Unlimited, has 4 of the hottest peppers. I did a challenge on my Facebook. I'm shocked I can't even speak to you now. My esophagus is officially recovered, but it's delicious. I couldn't stop eating it like an idiot, but we also have merch, so we have shirts, we got the masks have been selling out. There was a limited run from scarepros.com that did a 250 run. They're all sold out. Now he's doing a new run of them. But people, they've taken off with this. They've modded the masks. They put the LEDs in there, better than what we had on the film. Because the ones on the film, they were Jimmy rigged. Listen, I was dealing with them. I was the one that had to slip into David Howard Thornton's sweaty face mask and like turn it off and like take a scoop of sweat on my hands. That was always a lot of fun.
Now, when everybody thinks of Terrifier or the Terrifier team, but they think about the kills, you know, so what was it like just sitting back and just watching all these kills take place, or just even just in the drawing board, like just coming up like, are we really gonna do this? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
On which one? On stream?
Stream, yeah. And for the whole team, just you being a part of it, like Terrifier 2, maybe all of them, that wherever you want to go with it.
I mean, I come out with it. So basically, look, one of the coolest moments, which was like one of the early weeks, is one of the early kills in this, which is a very graphic kill. You'll know what it is. You'll be like, oh, that's straight up Damien Leone. We were shooting, and you know, you break it up. Like the way you do special effects is, you know, if an actor or an actress is getting killed, you shoot all their stuff, then they stop, you take them away, you shoot other stuff, right? Because they got to go into makeup for 3-4 hours while they do this. So they had done everything they could humanly do with the human being that they were brutally murdering, and then they were basically like, okay, look, like Michael comes out and goes, look, guys, this is gonna be 2-3 hours. Damien has to like punch in eyelashes and stuff like that. So if you guys want to go to bed, you can. Like, no one has to stay. We're just gonna do 2 shots of this blah 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 happening, and that's it. You know, so we all went upstairs, did what we do, drink, and hung out, partied, and you know, chilled. 3 hours go by, and they just kind of went downstairs, and we all went downstairs. The entire crew went downstairs. Nobody had to. Everyone could have gone to bed. They could have chilled. They could have done nothing. And I looked around the room, and it was every single crew member was there watching this happen because everyone just wanted to see this kill. And that was one of the most beautiful moments. Was like everybody is into it with that, you know. And if you watch behind the scenes of Terrifier 2, you see half the crew is blowing blood through tubes and getting covered in stuff, and there's no way that you're not getting blood on you. And in Terrifier 3, there's literally a thing, they built a wall up here, like to the wall with fucking flags, and they exploded blood. And I have my script supervisor book behind this thing. It's protected. There's a wall between this. Come back covered in blood. Covered in blood. I let that dry. I wrote on the pages. I was like, I'm gonna keep these. These are never leaving my side. But like it's the key. Here's the thing. I'll say this: as actors, it's everyone wants to get killed in a movie until they have to get killed in a movie. Because by the 15th hour, when you're covered in Caro syrup and you're stuck to the floor and you're hearing, all right, we need to dump another bucket of blood to freshen up on the person, and you can't even lift your face off of the cement, okay, you're like, okay, maybe I need a different life choice. Maybe I should.
You're destroying our dreams, man.
No, listen, I would say completely do it, 100% do it, and some people love it. I mean, if you look, you have someone like, Bill Moseley, who's killed people throughout his entire career, loves it. He's covered in blood all the time. I mean,
It's kind of his thing.
yeah, just.
So we got some goodies here, but before we do that, we wanted to see if open up the questions to the audience. Does anybody have a question? Going right there.
I'm curious, how long did it take you to shoot this? And I apologize if you already answered that. I was a couple minutes late.
Oh no, I did not answer that one. So we originally shot for 6 weeks straight during COVID. We shot 6 weeks in the hotel, and we shot the majority of the film. We got most of the cast and everything in, and then we had to take a break because we had to raise more money. So then we did an Indiegogo and raised $180,000 for the Indiegogo, and shot the rest of the stuff, which was like different scenes in different locations, and then we also shot a couple of extra scenes. I'd be able to describe them a little bit more if people had seen it, but you're going to see it soon. So, but I would say in total, we probably shot about 2.5 months maybe worth of it, like worth of days and stuff. And some of these days was like, okay, we're going to an airfield to shoot out Damien Maffei, and and that's that.
I noticed it has like a decent runtime. So how long was the script? 120 pages?
It was about that, yeah. And like, there was an earlier cut that was 2 hours and 35 minutes, which we were, I heard somebody's.
Scorsese on this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Damien started the Mega Slasher, which which was like a 2 hour and change movie, and people loved it, so we were semi going with that, but this one, this one does this one's very different than Terrifier, and it's got a lot of, it's a lot more character based. There's a lot more, build up with the characters, with the people to get you to fall in love with them and stuff like that. But once this goes, it goes. It doesn't stop, which is it's very John Carpenter-esque in that way, where it's just like, if you watch a movie like Prince of Darkness, the first hour of that film is just build up, and the final 30 minutes, it just doesn't stop. And that's kind of how this is, but.
Marcus, what was the shooting budget of Stream? I know you guys were Indiegogo, but what were you as a team able to raise to put this together?
From what I know, it was about 300 altogether, or 350. There was like initial investor who put in, and that's what we shot the film with. And then we shot the whole movie. And basically, it was probably, to me, it was one of the best Indiegogo campaigns I've ever seen in my life, because we shot the movie, and while we were doing it, they were shooting all the actors, doing interviews with everybody. So then you had the actors and the crew, because as you know, Bino right here worked on Terrifier 3 as well. So like he knows, like we don't just say that we're crew. We don't just say that we worked on film. We're all one giant family. Like if you look at our photos, we're always hanging out together. We're always doing everything together. We do, So it's like we had the family. Doing it, you know what I mean? So it was like, when we shot, so like when you see those interviews online, including mine, which was the reason why I started losing weight, because I was like, oh damn, all that COVID weight, I was like, shit. It was like, you really got a sense that you were becoming a part of something more than just like, oh, I'm throwing down $100 to this project and, it's helping this person. It was like, oh, I'm becoming a part of it. Like, you know, we have fans that come up to us, we have people that come up to us all the time that, you know, really feel like they're a part of it, and they are. You know, this is a fan-made movie, you know, and we are fans, horror fans making a horror film for horror fans, you know, and that's, I mean, that you can see it from the cast alone. It's not just us going, like, oh, you know, let's just get these people. No, it's like we love Jeffrey Combs, we love Tim Reed, we love David Hawthorne, we love Dee Wallace, Tony Todd, Daniel Harris, Terry Alexander, all these people, you know, and it's, yeah.
So I would imagine that extended running times would maybe interfere with things like ability to sell or distribute the movie. I don't know if I'm wrong on that, but I'm just wondering, are you happy with, do you think you made a better film by cutting it down below 2.5 hours?
I mean, probably, yes. So Michael cut it down from that because, you know, it also comes down to to this. Like for me in my films, if anyone ever says to me, hey, you know, like what's your runtime, I can never tell you. Because I don't think a film should be, I don't think it should be like, this movie has to be 90 minutes. This movie has to be 2 hours. I think it should be whatever the length of the film needs to be to tell its story and tell it right. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine like trying to do, you know, Return of the King in 2 hours? I mean, we wouldn't have to have 6 endings, but you know, but like it's, I think, you know, I think a lot of people grew up with slashers and it's like a hard stamp of 90 minutes and that's it. You can't go any further. You can't go any deeper into characters. It just has to be, you know, set up, kill, sex, you know, all this stuff. And we wanted to try something different. We wanted to try to have more characters. You know, we wanted to not just have like, you know, Daniel Harris pop in for like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, or like Tim Reed or any of these people. We wanted them to be characters, and that's kind of the, you know, one of the big things that these people aren't just cameos. You know, it's not just like, hi, I'm Jeffrey Combs. I'm here for 2 seconds and he's out. Like Jeffrey Combs is in this movie. Like he's a huge part of this movie. It's also been said it's one of his best performances. I'm biased, but you know, but I do. You know, I mean, you guys be the judge. You tell me. You know, you let me know if it's too long. You know, I'll tell Michael that it's too long.
Speaking of the cast, how were you able to basically pitch to all of these like big time actors to all come together to make an indie film? I don't know anything about making movies, but how would you pitch that to somebody like that?
So we knew some of these people. Like I've done a bunch of films with Terry Alexander from Day of the Dead. So I called him up and I was like, look, you like the script? Tell me what you think of this character. You know, come on in. And Terry was like, yes, man, I love it. You know, oh man, I love that man. You know, and with a lot of these people, we were shooting during COVID. So we had done a film previous, it was shot through Zoom. I wrote and directed this movie. It's called The Dark Offering. So 100% through Zoom. It had Felissa Rose, Telly Alexander, Spencer Charles from Ice Nine Kills, Tamara Glenn from Halloween, and a couple of others. But like we reached out to these people. It's COVID. Like these people are sitting at home. They're not doing anything. And then 2021, when we started really gearing up for this, we were like, look, this is where we're going with this, is what we're doing. If you guys want to come down, you know, and everyone was so enthusiastic. And then as you're getting like Jeffrey Combs to say yes, and all of a sudden like Tim Reed's like, oh, I want to work with Jeffrey Combs. I'll do this movie, you know? And it was also one of those things where the reason why our budget was so high wasn't even them. It was COVID. A third of our budget went straight to HEPA filters, to COVID tests. I had my like nose like destroyed almost every other day. It was a great experience waking up, you know. But like a lot of these people wanted to do it. I mean, and it's also like they've seen Terrifier, they've seen the work that, you know, Fuzz and the Lens has done, they've seen the work that we've all done, and you know we've met them at cons, we've met them at, you know, everything else, and you just kind of build a good rapport with these people and their agents and stuff. Also, you know, Michael, Jay, Steve, Rob, they wrote a really, really good character script. So these actors were like, you know, who are usually getting called in for like, oh, come and be, you know, this character that gets killed off because we need your name on the cover. It's like, no, they actually get to play characters. They actually have dialogue. They actually have, you know, an arc or something. And they were like, they loved it. They were really, at least that's what they told us. You know. Well, they did say yes, so.
Marcus, I know you've worked on both Terrifier and Stream, and that they both contained David Howard Thornton. Which one did you feel he was more sinister in as a performer? What do you think personally?
Ooh. Sinister, huh? I know he's more no. Oh, this is actually a good question. This is a really good question.
This is friend to friend. I know exactly why I'm asking you this.
Oh, I know you will. I kind of think I know why too, you bastard. You know, they're very different characters. This one I think is more, no, because the other, yeah, Jesus Christ. Because I also know, this is impossible to answer.
Which one did you have more fun watching him on then?
Oh, well, obviously Art the Clown.
Sure.
You know, I loved him as Art the Clown. I mean, and with everything he does in part 3, it's just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's Christmas every day over there. But with this, he also, you know, what was cool about this one is seeing him do something different, something that's a little bit more, I wouldn't want to say the word animated, but he's different, and it's a brother-sister duo. So player 2 and player 3 are brother-sister. So they're tag teaming off of each other, they're playing off of each other, they're doing all the things with each other. And to watch them kind of go into unison and see how they play is really cool. I think he's more sinister and evil in Terrifier.
He's
But
a very animated man.
Yes.
That's why I was curious.
he's definitely a walking cartoon. And if you've ever met him in life, he is literally a walking cartoon. And that's why he's so amazing as Art the Clown. But yeah, I think this he does really good. And then we also worked with him on Screambow, where he's, playing a version of Mickey Mouse. So, that's going around killing people on the Staten Island Ferry. That's always fun.
That's awesome.
So I know everyone's probably getting a little anxious to watch the film, but before we do, one sec. So before we do, we got just some things I want to show people, and then we got the poster to give away. So do you want to explain what these are?
All right, so these were designed by Stephen Conca, one of our producers. So these are limited edition player cards, okay? These are not found anywhere else but in New England, because that's the only places that we have been, so you can't get them anywhere else because we're not traveling all over the place. So basically, each one is one of the player with the color of the glowing eyes. So you have player 1. They also have their stats right here, okay? And if you go to the backs of them and you scan them, it brings you to a landing page that will have like their stats and stuff like that, but it also tracks basically, like which players people are getting the most, who's liking who the most, who your favorite player is. So, but once again, these are extremely limited, all holographic, and and if you have your favorite player, place your bets and see if they survive.
How do you want it?
How do they get?
Oh, how do you think we want to do this? Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, what do you want to do? How do you want to set this up?
Wait, what's that?
It's probably our job.
Yeah.
All right.
Make it hard.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm gonna throw this on to you guys.
You're the hard critic.
Okay.
Let's throw some little trivia. See if we can.
All right.
Let's do it that way.
All right. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see. Let me think. I'm trying to think of a good one that's not gonna be impossible because okay. Our lead actor, Charles Edwin Powell, who plays Roy, started his career in a horror film. It was a part 3 of one of the biggest horror films of all time. And he played one of the lead characters, a fake chef of them, basically, throughout the whole film. Okay? What film is that? Who knows?
Halloween 3?
No.
Elm Street 3?
No. I think that one might be too hard. Oh, now he's walking out.
I'm going to the bathroom, Marcus.
All right,
Googling the answer.
what's that?
He's Googling the answer.
Yeah.
It probably is.
Keep her leaving. Success.
All right, we'll do it different. We'll go a little bit lighter. Who can name me 3 films that Jeffrey Combs was in that is not Reanimator? Frighteners. 2 others. Who's got 2 others? It's Jeffrey Combs, guys. You want to just pick a number?
No. 3 films of this man.
Okay, this is an easier one.
Yeah.
3 films of Tony Todd.
Can't even 1, 2, 3.
What is going on here?
I think that's the winner right there.
Yeah. All right,
That's
there
the
you
winner.
go.
That's the winner.
He's the Candyman.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, Final Destination right here. All right, he wins it.
All right, we'll do both. Both of you guys come up and get a prize. Okay.
You're a winner.
Yeah.
All right.
What was the answer to the first question?
Charles Edwin Powell was in The Exorcist 3.
Oh my
So,
God, I almost said Exorcist.
if you had said Exorcist, you would have won. Basically, what happened is that Jason Miller, who's reprising his role as Father Carey's, had wet brain, and he couldn't do the scenes when they did the reshoots. So they brought Charlie in at the beginning of it and they put prosthetics all over his face to match him. It is so incredibly done. It's one of the most brilliant special effects I've ever seen in my life. Nobody knew of this until they released the Exorcist 3 Blu-ray and interviewed him. And it was like, oh yeah, he was like, yeah, I played this guy. And he never wants to put those effects on his face again because the flames that they used in the scene between him and cutting back and forth between him and Brad Dourif and George C. Scott were so real that the makeup latex melted to his face. And production was like, come on, grow up, be a man, stop crying about that. And so he almost quit acting. And we're very glad that he didn't, as you're gonna see, because Charlie, we keep saying, is the heart and soul of this film. He plays Roy Keenan, and we love him very dearly.
All right, everybody, thanks for coming out tonight. Get ready for this crazy film, and also stick around after the film during the credits. They have some special features that you don't want to miss.
100%, yes. There's 2 bumpers, so make sure you stay. Make sure you watch those, okay? And if you guys have remote controls, keep them away from Bina.
Thank you.
Threw you under the bus.